What's up, guys? It's MB Boxing, and today I'm going to be predicting the outcome of Jaime Munguia versus Gabriel Rosado, and this is going to be a 12-rounder in the middleweight division, and this fight is going to be Saturday, November 13th, from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, and this fight is going to be broadcasted on DAZN. And to get into both fighters' resumes, Jaime Munguia, fighting out of Mexico, holds a record of 37 wins, no defeats, with 30 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 5 by BoxRec in the middleweight division. He's also the former WBO super-welterweight world champion, and now to list some of his best victories, he has a knockout win over Juan Macias Montiel, a knockout win over Saddam Ali, a unanimous decision victory over Liam Smith, a unanimous decision victory over Takeshi Inoue, a majority decision victory over Dennis Hogan, a knockout victory over Gary O'Sullivan, as well as a knockout victory over Toriano Johnson, and he's coming off a dominant 6-round knockout victory over Camille Seremeta. And now to get his opponent's resume, Gabriel Rosado, fighting out of the United States, holds a record of 26 wins, 13 defeats, and 1 draw, with 15 wins coming by way of knockout. He's currently ranked number 9 by BoxRec in the super middleweight division. And to first of all list all 13 of his defeats, he has a unanimous decision defeat to Chris Gray, a unanimous decision defeat to Joshua Onyango, a unanimous decision defeat to Fernando Guerrero, a knockout loss to Alfredo Angulo, a majority decision defeat to Derek Ennis, a knockout loss to Triple G, a knockout loss to David Lemieux, a unanimous decision defeat to Jermell Charlo, a unanimous decision defeat to Willie Monroe Jr., a knockout loss to Peter Quillen, a majority decision defeat to Martin Murray, a unanimous decision defeat to Maciej Sulecki, and his last defeat came by split decision and was very, very controversial against Daniel Jacobs, and I actually thought that Rosado won that fight 115 to 113. And after Alyssa's one and only draw, it came by split decision against Luis Arias. And now to list some of Rosado's best victories, he has a unanimous decision win over Joshua Clottey, a knockout victory over Glenn Tapia, a unanimous decision victory over Antonio Velasquez, a unanimous decision victory over Humberto Ochoa, and he's coming off a brutal knockout of the year contender over Bektamir Malakuziev, which is most likely his best victory of his career thus far. And in my opinion, this fight is a 50-50 and either man could win, but I'm actually swaying in favor of the underdog, Gabriel Rosado. I know many people are picking Jaime Munguia. Rosado is a huge underdog, but I think that Munguia, he has not been tested yet, and that Rosado could be the man to test him. I mean, Rosado, he's fought so many world-class opponents. If you take away all of the top-tier A-level and B-level guys Rosado has fought, I mean, he'd probably be undefeated. I mean, most of his losses do come to guys who are A-level and B-level. Munguia, I mean, he has not been tested really yet. I mean, he hasn't really beat anyone in like the top 10, top 15 or anything. The best guy I'd say on his resume is probably Liam Smith, and that's a top tier guy at super welterweight, but at middleweight, he has not been tested yet. I mean, he fought like Toriano Johnson, Camille Seremeta, and Toriano Johnson was actually giving Jaime Munguia a tough fight and was arguably ahead up until Munguia landed a Hail Mary uppercut that split the lip of Johnson open. Munguia was super lucky that uppercut caused a brutal gash on the lip of Toriano Johnson, but it did, and it had to be stopped. But that was in the 6th round of their fight. But then, when he fought Dennis Hogan in Mexico, in front of his home country fans, I mean, Munguia looked just frazzled. I mean, Hogan was able to counter him, land brutal power shots. Munguia was actually hurt at one point, especially in the 11th round where he got backed up and buckled a bit with a brutal right hand. So Rosado, I mean, he's a fighter. When he's fighting a guy who likes to come forward, he's the one on the back foot. He's the one countering, and we could see that here. And Rosado, he's fought at 168 in his last 2 fights, and I hope that he's not drained for this fight. But yeah, I mean, he should be in decent shape. I mean, he's fought at middleweight many times throughout his career, and he's, in a sense, moving down a weight because he's ranked in the top 10 at super middleweight. He's moving down to middleweight again here for this fight. But Rosado, I mean, we saw against Malakuziev, I mean, he got dropped early on, but he bounced back, landed a brutal, beautiful counter shot on the chin of Malakuziev and put him out cold. But Munguia, I mean, he's probably going to be the one coming forward, but we did see against Zerameta that he had some good skill and was actually moving around a bit more. He looked better defensively. He looked far better than when he fought Johnson or Hogan or anyone, even like Takeshi Inoue. He looked far better, moved around a bit as opposed to that sort of Neanderthal style of just coming forward and clubbing his opponent. But here, or when he fought Zermeta, he moved around a bit, moved his hands around a bit to sort of confuse his opponent, had some footwork, used head movement, and he looked very, very good. But who knows if that's really just because Zermeta is a sort of timid opponent who doesn't really present well up to power punchers in the middleweight division. I mean, we saw that against Triple G, and now back in, I believe it was in June, we saw it against Jaime Munguia. But now, Gabriel Rosado, a fighter who's a veteran. I mean, the problem is, if Rosado is able to escape the first 3 rounds without a cut, then he should be good. But if he is going to get a cut or swelling in those first couple rounds, I mean, it could be a real problem for him because he does have a lot of scar tissue. I mean, he's been cut so many times throughout his career, specifically against like Triple G, etc. I mean, David Lemieux, whatever. I mean, he really has taken some beatdowns in like the past 6 years. But now it seems like he rejuvenated his career in his last 2 fights at 168, knocking out Bektir Nurmagomedov and in a sense getting robbed against Daniel Jacobs. But now, I mean, he's fighting Jaime Munguia. And Munguia, I mean, he's 37-0. And the problem with this is that I'm picking Rosado, and I think this fight is going to go the distance, and I think Rosado is going to win on points. But the problem is, Rosado might get robbed because, I mean, it's just so slim that they would give it to the guy who's got a record of 26-13 as opposed to the guy who's got a record of 37-0 and who's like 25 years old. But, yeah, I've seen a lot of people picking Munguia by stoppage, and that could definitely happen. And I could definitely see Rosado getting dropped early on, like a flash knockdown like he did against Melkuziev, just getting hit, one shot, takes a knee, or just getting hit with one shot and just going down flash. But Rosado, he has showed some resilience. I mean, I can't really remember a time when Rosado was really just knocked out, plain out, like he got dropped, couldn't get up for the 10 count. I mean, the only real times I remember Rosado getting stopped was like in his corner or via cuts and whatever. But he is a very, very tough fighter with a lot of heart who puts up a tough fight. And here's how I see this fight going down. I think the first half of the fight will be where Munguia will have some success. He'll start out, and that's where I think he could possibly get a flash knockout in those first 4 rounds. And he'll most likely be ahead in the first half of the fight. It could be close, but I think Munguia will really be the one coming forward, and this is where he'll have the most energy, and Rosado will really start to figure out Munguia a bit more and see where he could possibly land counters, land his jab on the outside and whatnot. But then in the second half of the fight, I think Munguia would start to slow down a bit from just chasing Rosado down. I don't see Rosado being the one coming forward. I think he'll fight smart, he'll fight cautious, and that should be his key to victory here for Rosado. Just jab, be cautious, counter, look for those opportunities, and then take chances on those and land some nice shots and score points. And as I said before, in the second half of the fight, Rosado should be the one with the better legs. I know that he'll be the one moving around a bit more, but Munguia will be the one coming forward, obviously, and he'll be slowing down a bit. Rosado will start to have some more opportunities. Like Munguia would start to possibly get desperate that he's not getting a knockout, and that Rosado could be the one that's slipping away in the scorecards or just going ahead a bit more, considering that he's sort of boxing and using this counter-punching style. But Munguia, I mean, we saw against Dennis Hogan he was a bit desperate, and he started to get hit even more later on, as I mentioned before, going back to that 11th round where he got hit with that right hand and buckled back a bit. But here, I mean, I think that ever since switching to Eric Morales as his trainer, I believe so. I mean, he's looked a bit better when it comes to his defense. He's sort of keeping his hands up more as opposed to before where he just leave his chin open and just take shots. But I hope that Munguia does show up here. I hope it's a very, very good fight, and I hope Rosado also shows up here 100%, and I hope it is a good fight. But as I said before, I think that Gabriel Rosado will have a sort of tougher time in the first half of the fight and take some more control and win a majority of the second half of the fight to win via split decision. And I think the judges' scorecards could range from like a sort of clear scorecard for Munguia, like a 116-112 for Munguia, although the fans, including myself, would probably think that it won't be. And then the other 2 judges, I think, will have it like 115-113 for Rosado. So overall, I believe that Gabriel Rosado will upset Jaime Munguia getting a split decision victory. And once again, I think the judges' scorecards will be 116 to 112 for Munguia and 115 to 113 twice in favor of Gabriel Rosado. And yeah, that's really it. I'm MB Boxing. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.